Welcome back. This is the second video in my series on exponent rules. We're going to talk about distributing exponents over bases. So rule 4 here is the only rule we're going to cover, so this is going to be a shorter video. It looks complicated, but it's really not. So here's how it goes. If you have a product or a quotient raised to a power, so for example, if I have a times b to the n power. So I have two numbers that are multiplied together to make, that are raised to a power. You can distribute the exponent to each base. So that would be a to the n times b to the n. Okay? And since it says product or quotient, this works the same if the two bases are being divided. Okay? So let's do a couple of examples. If I have 2x squared to the third power, okay? 2x squared to the third power. Well, that would be distributing the 3 in, 2 to the third power times x to the 2 times 3. So I should get, let's see, 2 to the third power, 2 times 2, don't say 6. 2 to the third power, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, and then x to the 6th. But again, this being the first example, let's break this apart and visualize, because I don't know that I trust this new rule. All right, well, if I take 2x squared to the third and I break it down, that's 2x squared times 2x squared times 2x squared. Now we have these rules of multiplication called the commutative and associative rules. I know those sound like big words, but really it just means that we can do the multiplication in whatever order we want. In other words, we can take these three 2's and multiply them together in this order, and we can take these x squareds and multiply them together in that order. These two expressions are equivalent. And this leads us directly there. Here's our 2 to the third, here's our x to the 6th. So again, these rules come from rational thought and experimentation. They're not something that someone just made up. Let's do another example. 3 to the negative 4th over 2 to the 5th, all to the third. Well, again, distributing. We get 3 to the negative 4 times 3 over 2 to the 5 times 3. We get 3 to the negative 12th over 2 to the 15th. Let's do another example. What if I had 2 to the third divided by 4 squared? Well, again, there are a couple of ways to do this actually. You could recognize that 4 is 2 squared and work from there. See, that 4 could be represented as 2 squared, and now you've got the same base if you want. Or you could just be more direct about it. You get 2 to the 3 times 2 divided by 4 to the 2, yeah? And that gives you 2 to the 6th divided by 16. What is 2 to the 6th? I actually do recommend that you invest some energy into memorizing the powers of 2. I'm not normally a memorization person, but the powers of 2 come up in math all the time. 2 to the first is 2, 2 squared is 4, then 8. You're just doubling every time, right? It's an exponential curve. 16, 32, 64. So it's 64 over 16, which is 4. That's all there is to this rule. When you have a product or a quotient raised to a power, you distribute the exponent to each base. If you have a question, please do leave a comment. I will be happy to answer, or you can email me, or you can just raise your hand in class. See you on Monday.